I'm the outsider, and I'm building a log cabin on a budget. Perfect. This video series is not meant to be instructional. It is, however, an invitation to view my journey as I strive to build a log cabin on a budget. Working with sharp tools, felling trees, building log cabins, etc. is inherently dangerous work, which is why they should not be attempted without the proper training, safety precautions, and full knowledge of the associated risks. Enjoy. Sincerely, The Outsider. August has begun, and although it's a different month, our method remains the same. Drop, delimb, debark, repeat. But the weather had different plans for us. As we were setting up for the day, we started to hear rumbles. A storm was on our doorstep.
We're going to get wet if we don't hurry.
Yeah.
I thought my chainsaw was right beside your chainsaw.
Oh, I got it. Oh, is that it? That's it. That's his. Little did we know, August was going to be a month riddled with storms and rainy weather. Since I am only able to work on the cabin on Saturdays, and in combination with the bad weather, the month flew past with very little work being accomplished. As far as peeling and seasoning is concerned, here are my observations. In my area, the snow left the ground at the beginning of May. 1 month later, at the beginning of June, the trees became very easy to peel. In July, 2 months after the snow had left the ground, the cedars were slightly harder to debark, but it was still easy enough that the change was hardly noticeable. However, I did notice that the sap seemed to thicken a little bit. In August, the logs were noticeably harder to peel, and the once watery sap became very sticky. But although the debarking process took a little longer, we were still able to get the bark off without any major problems. But in September, the sap had become so thick and sticky that it was extremely hard to remove the bark. And if we were able to remove a small strip of outer bark, the inner cambium layer would continue to stick to the tree and needed to be painstakingly shaved off with our axes. And so we dropped only one tree in September. Our season of felling and peeling cedars had officially drawn to a close. With the bad weather of August and the slow progress of September, the second part of the summer was gone in a flash. And just like that, it was fall. With no more trees to peel, it was time to stack the remaining logs onto the seasoning pile. tidy the forest up a bit before winter, we gathered some of the brush that we had created from the delimbing and debarking process and threw them on a burn pile. Although I felt like August and September were a write-off, I stumbled upon something that boosted my spirits. A mere 200 feet from the cabin site, I discovered a spring. Without any lakes or streams nearby, having a fresh source of water so close to the cabin was a great find. During the summer months, I left the seasoning pile uncovered. This allowed the pile to be open to the drying properties of the sunlight and wind. But with the arrival of the cold fall nights, I figured it was time to fasten a tarp over the pile to protect it from the frost. But before I covered the pile, I placed some small logs and cedar branches on top. I also made sure to leave the sides of the pile open. All of this will allow as much air as possible to flow through the pile, even with the tarp on.
One of the main lessons that I've learned from this summer is just the seasons in which it's best to peel trees. And so what I've noticed is that about a month after the snow leaves the ground is when the peeling is best. And so around where I'm living, the snow left the ground the beginning of May. And so we started peeling on June the 1st, and that's when the peeling was really good. The sap was flowing well, and the bark came off. It practically fell off. It was so easy to take off the trees. And then moving into July, it was still fairly easy to peel the bark off. It was a little harder, but it wasn't really all that noticeable. I did notice the sap was a little thicker, but again, not really an issue. But we did start noticing a bit of mold on the logs that we peeled in July. And then August came along, and August the sap was noticeably thicker, and although peeling was decent, it was getting harder, and the cambium layer was starting to stick to the logs, so it was getting to be not that efficient to peel them in August, but we did it anyway. And we noticed a noticeable increase in the amount of mold and mildew on the logs that we peeled in August. And then my dad and I came in and we dropped our last tree on September the 1st, and it was almost not even worth peeling. It took us probably half the day to peel one log that we dropped in September, whereas the logs that we were peeling in June took us about, 15 minutes? Yeah, about 15 minutes. So that was quite a difference. So after we dropped that tree in September and tried to peel it, took half the day to peel it, we thought, you know what, forget it. So that was our last log, and mold appeared on that log quite quickly. And so the thickness of the sap, because of the higher sugar content, really seems to contribute to mold and mildew. and making it harder to get the bark off. Yeah, this pile that I'm sitting on is all the tips of the trees that we cut off. They're too small to be logs for the log cabin, but we've been saving them, and we're selling them as fence posts. So every part of the tree is used. You know, you might as well. The wood is valuable, and if you know, you need to use every part that you can. So these are going to be in some farmer's field soon. Yeah. Had the camera ran over by the tractor.
Here's what we look like in the morning, before coffee.